LinkedIn. Sayaka. Wonderful. Good. Happy to hear it. Happy to hear it.
Can I use the washroom?
Okay, that's the please just get go for make yourself comfortable as you wish. No problem at all. I do like the bells and those are very good.
I'm kind of rough. I'm trying to find some more.
No, man, that's great. I like suspenders very much. I really like suspenders very much.
I just started getting into them, so.
Totally, man. Absolutely, man. They're fine to look at. So there's no question about it.
Maybe outside has got close it.
Yeah, he's doing work with it. Let's get that.
That's a beautiful suit you got.
You're arrogant for the economy. Kicks my efforts to find success. But you know that. You wear suspenders.
I just started a couple weeks ago.
It's a good look. They have to come back. They got to come back. They're very important. Much better than belts too. They really are.
I'm starting to wearing
You know, so I take it. Keep the body for it, yeah. Big old body. Makes sense. What color is that? Is it a metal color, I think? Is that? Oh, I mean like color. Yeah, the color style. I think it's a metal color, yeah. Cool. That's good that you're in fashion. Not fashion, but style. Fashion's for women, style's for men. That's my kind of thing about it. Where's welcome to the Bravo was waiting for his friend to come tonight. Yeah, just make sure you get the not falling out. Cool.
That was a great reason. Rich. Oh, I know. It's but I'm learning. Both my parents are gone. I think my grandfather was Chinese.
Yeah, I was Chinese.
Yeah.
I think 80% of Cambodia bacteria there.
Yeah, a lot of it's my empire.
Hello, how are you?
I think something Tim.
Nice to meet you.
Tifa, right? Yes, that's right. Around something quite like that.
Yeah.
Please take a seat anywhere. It's kind of Right, please do very good. Good, good. Is that all right?
Really good idea.
Food and about 2 months.
I also.
Who are you?
But I asked you to keep the time as well, but just make sure there's some way to make sure it's right. That's all right. I sent a schedule to the doctor, I sent it to you as well. Is that everybody?
No, we got the ad.
Okay, so Six is a good number. Talk about that
Hey, namaste everyone, good morning. Welcome here. So today, as we know, we have a seminar related to the naturopath and psychology, including together. So today we have a very important guest, at least for me, because I really learned in these 1 month maybe I know him and I'm still learning from him. So as a yoga learner, for me, yoga is also a kind of psychology, philosophy, and many things included in that. So my first interaction with him in the way which I really get influence from him regarding in the seminar we will go through that about the numbers and about different things. So when we started with the numbers, and we know that in the yoga numbers are very important. And especially for me, it's if you know the yantras and the different geometrical symbols. So how the different geometrical symbols affect our unconscious and subconscious mind. Obviously, we learn in a more traditional way. They are not going to teach you in a scientific way because they don't care about the scientific, scientifically or not, because it's about your experience, what you are experiencing doing yoga. And but it's good that he has a very scientific approach to that. I try to correlate with the yoga, his way of seeing the numbers and seeing the. I'm really sorry because sometimes it's very difficult to use the words because maybe I'm not good at some words, so I'm really sorry for that. So I will not take much time also, and it's just we try to organize this workshop. Especially, I also want to know more, and for me, it's that if I know something, I really want. If I feel that it is very important for me, and it's good for the other society also, for the benefit of the society, how the talk, how the words are affecting your unconscious mind, and how it is changing your way of seeing different things, which I feel is very important if you know it more scientifically. And so I really want to say thank you to Dr. King for coming here, and just give the small introduction that he is a doctorate in clinical psychology and specialized in the naturopathy. So you will be having a good discussion about how the food affects the body. Obviously we know, but it's more in a more logical way. Maybe you will find that how really food affect and what is the right food for us. And the next afternoon session we will be having the numbers and how the words people frame, what numbers they use in making the words coming into being, and how it affects our body. So I'll just ask him to please come and thank you.
All right. Very good. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming today. I really appreciate it. And we're going to be talking about a number of things that are I would say very important about a very topic pertaining to your body as well as your mind, as well as a few other things. Before I do that, I'll go through a little self-introduction as well as a few things we'll be talking about. Wonderful job by Rahul. I appreciate that. And we also should thank Rahul for organizing this seminar for us. That's a very lovely thing. All right. So again, please call me Timothy. I am a man. I work with my fellow man as best I can, and I think I do a very good job. We'll talk more about that later. You'll hear me say that quite a lot because I think you'll understand why later. And today, by the end of this talk, the morning and the afternoon, I think you're going to gain quite a lot of things that we'll be talking about together. By the end of the morning session, I believe you're going to gain a great understanding of true health, how to heal basically anything. You'll understand more about your body than most medical doctors do within 12 years of their own study. So it's a very important topic. We're going to talk all about it. By the end of the afternoon study, I believe you're going to gain a skill set that will help you to understand yourself better, the world better, current events, and future events in a way you've never thought possible. Sounds like it's kind of a lot, but it is actually very interesting and very grounded. It's very scientific, like he said. It's going to be very cool. So please stay with us all the way through. As he said, I work as a naturopath and a counter-psychologist. What's a counter-psychologist? We'll talk about that in the afternoon session. It's a very clear thing. Naturopathy, it's a very good topic. We'll start with that soon. And before we get started, I'm going to talk about the one rule and the two reasons. There's only one rule for the entire group. It is, we act as man with our fellow men, and that is all. There are two reasons that attach to the group. The first reason is that this is not an entertainment. There is no entertainment. It's a workshop. We're going to work together. Does that make sense? So let's make that very clear up front. The second reason is that we also have a satsang, what tells me is a satsang style of discussion. What that means is, if anybody has a topic or a question, or they have something that they wish to share with the group, we're all going to work together to share that together, because each of us has our own wisdom. I might have some in my field, but I believe you all have your own wisdom as well. We're going to share that with each other. Does that make sense? Yeah. So we have one rule, two reasons, okay? Just make that very, very clear. And let's just say that because I am a man, I speak directly, and that's all. I speak directly on every subject, and that's just how it's going to be with you. So I'm not going to dance around anything. We're going to make that very clear. All right, up front. Don't be scared. That's not a scary thing. It's just going to be a very fun thing, as we'll see. I'm recording myself, and to make sure we have a good comprehension, I'm going to speak at a slower speed than I usually do. Normally, I speak at a much faster speed. You can probably hear that a little bit. Well, I'll try to keep it nice and even for everyone, so we can have a good comprehension. And later on, we're going to try a little reading game, a little writing game. I'll show that to you later. And when it comes to breaks, we're going to take a break every hour and a half for about 10 to 15 minutes. I think it's a good time. So you can all go to the toilet or go outside, walk around, stretch your legs. So, and we're going to have people keep the time, and we'll make sure that it works all right for everyone. All right? And as to your names, when you first start speaking, I'm going to ask your name and tell the entire group, and then we'll move from there. Is that all right? Okay, very good. In that case, I guess that'll be that, and we'll move on from there. So, let's get started with something called naturopathy. Who's heard of naturopathy before? Has no one heard of it before? Amazing, that's really interesting. I believe in Japanese it's called Jin-ryoku. I think so, something like that. I'm not sure exactly, so I can check it on that. So, naturopathy is actually the only true healing modality on this planet. I'm going to say that to you one more time. It is the only true healing modality on this planet. It sounds very strange. Maybe you've never heard that before. I'm telling you the very truth, and we'll talk about why that is later. Naturopathy. Imagine it as a giant oak tree. A giant, beautiful oak tree that's as tall as you can reach to the very sky. The trunk of that tree is called naturopathy. It is the main healing modality, and as the branches radiate out, they take on different names. Some of those names might be homeopathy, they might be color therapies, massage therapies, and one of those little branches, one of the tiniest little darkest, stinky, ugly branches, is called the medical fraternity. They're actually underneath us. We are the main trunk, and the medical fraternity is one of our small branches. It's actually a member of the family, believe it or not. It's a really cool thing. So I want to make that very clear. Because the Chinese use traditional Chinese medicine. They've been using it for thousands of years. The Japanese took a lot from them as well. The Indians use their Ayurveda medicine. It's been going on for thousands of years. Most of the world does naturopathy today. The Arabs do it, the Africans do it, most of the Europeans do it. The Americans also, we're kind of getting there. But for the most part, most of the world does naturopathy very well today. So we're going to talk about all these subjects and more. We're going to talk about not just how your body actually works, but how to heal absolutely everything. Basically, it sounds astounding, but actually so. I'll show you exactly how that works. More than that, we're also going to talk about the medical fraternity. The medical fraternity is a very important topic which we will cover in great detail. Okay? Great. So far, do you have any questions about that so far? That's why I make sure you understand the great basics up front. No questions? All right, and feel free to raise your hand anytime you have a question about anything that we're talking about. Feel free to bring it forth. If you don't understand something, don't be shy. If there's something that doesn't make sense to you, we'll go into a bit depth further. All right, good. So, naturopathy. Naturopathy means the science and study of nature. Now, every single one of those words means something specific. Study, of course, just means examination. We're looking at it closely. The science and study of nature. Science just means knowledge. That's it, knowledge. Science means knowledge. So we're examining knowledge of means within. So we're examining the knowledge within nature. What is nature mean? Nature means the healing powers of the body, the powers of growth. So naturopathy means that we are studying and learning the knowledge of the healing powers of the body, as well as powers of growth for the entire universe. Naturopathy does not encompass just your physical body, but the entire creation. Does that make sense? No sense? Yeah. Okay, very good. So let's get into some more meaty stuff now. We've got the introduction out of the way. It's very funny thing. So let's talk about the true nature of the world, the true nature of your bodies as man. So where do we live? What's this place called? Where do we live? Cambodia. Okay, that's not exactly right. The whole thing. What's the whole thing called? Earth. Very good. It's also called the creation. It's called nature. It's called many things. So man and woman exist on Earth, right? Yeah. And just to make it very simple, we're going to keep everything very simple. It's actually very complex to make it very simple. So man and woman exist on a place called Earth. Simply speaking, there are three major kingdoms to Earth: the kingdom of the air, the kingdom of the ocean, and the kingdom of the land. Well, man does not flap his arms and live in the air. Man does not drink ocean water, so he doesn't live in the ocean, so man lives upon the land, correct? So, that means that there are four and only four types of bodies. There are only four designs of bodies on the land. Four designs, and we're going to go through these now, all right? So, good. Yes. I love it. Good. So, there are four kinds of bodies, and there are only four kinds of bodies on the land. They are called carnivore, herbivore, omnivore, and there is one more. Maybe. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So, let's start with the first one, carnivore. Please forgive my doctor writing, but that is what it is. I'm not that good at it, so it is what it is. So, carnivore. Carnivore, what do they eat? Meats, correct. Carn, flesh. Eater, flesh eater. Flesh eater. So, in nature, whose faces do you see? Whose faces do you see in nature that are carnivores? Yes, which animals, which animals eat meat, which creatures eat meat that you see, whose faces do you see in nature?
Are you asking what type of animals eat?
Correct. What type of animals, what type of creatures, and so forth. What type of creatures have the carnivore design on the left? Tigers, got it. Brilliant, good. Tigers, exactly right. Tigers. Switch on the colors. That's got me going dry. Tigers. What else? Huh? Man? Not man, actually. No, not man or woman, no. Incorrect. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. They're entirely a different category. We'll talk about that later. Not man. So who else? Tigers, very good. Who else? Lions. You said lions? Good. Lions. Very good, very good. I heard ants. Is that correct? Ants are more omnivores. It depends on the species. They can be a bit more omnivores, yeah. What else?
Like sharks.
Okay, that's the ocean. We're saying they're just the land. Yes. But you're technically correct. Yes. What's that? Not dogs, actually. Dogs are different category. Yeah. Believe it or not. What's that? Wolf. Wolves, not exactly. They're different category. The same category as dogs. Believe it or not. It's strange, I know, but actually so. So we have tigers, lions. I'll give you a small hint. Cats. Very good. Cats, yes. So. Yes, like a little household cat, Chad. Absolutely.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, so we have. That's right. What's that? That's good. That's good. The gender talk about that. So, yeah, tigers, cats, lions, pumas, things like that. What commonalities? You got it, exactly. It is the feline race. The feline race is the prime carnivorous race on the land. Back there, sorry? Yes, the feline race, the cat family, lions, tigers, cats, they are the prime meat-eating race on the land. They are the only one that is the major one. So please understand, okay? Let's talk about why this is. Because some people were very surprised by this. And I was like, what? Dogs? People? No, not those at all. They're different category. We'll talk about those later. So, let's talk about what cats are. Let's talk about how they're very different from us. So, again, you will notice that when we look at nature, cats tend to have rending claws and gnashing teeth. Cats tend to have a short and smooth digestive tract. Right? Cats tend to have fur. Correct? Cats also, we're going to talk more about their activities later, but you'll notice that you do not have rending claws, gnashing teeth, fur, you do not have a short and smooth digestive tract. Is that correct? Yes. I hope not anyway. Unless you're a little weirdo, but for the most part, that is what it is. So, what this means is that, let's examine, so in naturopathy, all we do is just observe nature. We observe nature and ask simple questions about it, and that is all. And then we talk about it amongst ourselves to figure out what's going on, and then later we can do all our crazy academic studies about this and that, it doesn't matter. But the point is, we observe nature. So what do we observe? So when we observe cats, what do we observe? So for example, let's say that there are 4 tigers, and they all attack a bear, and they all want to kill the bear. So they kill the bear, and they eat on the bear. I want to ask you a question now. What is the average length of time before the tigers will walk away forever, never to return, even if there's still plenty of meat, even if they're not full? What is the average length of time before they will all walk away, never to return? I'm asking you. 1 hour, 2 hours, good. No? Anybody else? 6 hours, okay, good. Good. Again, no wrong answers. I just want to keep you speak. Okay? It's random. So, we have 1 hour, 2 hours, 6 hours. Anybody else? 7 hours. Good. Very good. 7.5 hours. 7 weeks. 7 days. There we go. So, would you believe me if I told you that the correct answer is a half an hour, 30 minutes, on average. Cats will stay around for only 30 minutes.
So if they're eating every 30 minutes.
Correct, yes. No. So, for example, they kill a bear, and they're all going to eat on the bear for about 30 minutes.
That's it.
That's it. And walk away. What's that?
Tigers actually 20 minutes.
Girl, tigers?
Like us actually.
Oh, 20 minutes?
Angry, angry for 20 minutes.
Exactly right. It's very much like that. In fact, we share some emotionality with the cats. We'll talk about that later. Very good observation. So, what I noticed is that it's about 30 minutes. They will walk away forever. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter, just depends. But on average, we observe about 30 minutes. Why is that? Why might that be? There's still lots of meat left. They're not full, but they still walk away. Why?
The psychology is in head.
You are correct. You're correct. Now, let's talk about what's happening around them. How did that psychology develop? You're very correct. So, have you ever been hunting before? You've never been hunting? Okay. I have before. I actually don't like it that much, but when I did go, I was in Malaysia, don't tell anybody. And when we were down there, I was actually with a group of people. I didn't shoot anything. They shot this sort of deer thing. I don't know what it's called. This deer thing. And it was about the same distance to that door over there, to the far wall, the investment company door over there. So it took us about less than a minute to walk to it. Before we got there, something else had beaten us to it. Another creature had already gotten there. What was there first? Not a feline. You're thinking correctly, though. And what's that? Birds. You're thinking more correctly. It does fly. That's right. Think small. I'll give you a hint. Flies. Exactly right. Flies have already gotten it. What do flies do on a dead body, on a dead corpse? They lay eggs. They insert larvae, correct? So what the cats have done, and you're correct, over the years they developed a psychology, they're instinctually aware of this. They're aware that after about a half hour, the flies are now putting their larvae into the meat, and therefore now it's going to poison them. They begin to take it in. It's very difficult for them to digest the eggs as well as just it's poisonous to them. They're going to have a lot of problems with stuff like that. So after about a half hour, they walk away. And so then the flies can now take it, and other creatures can now eat on it as well. They're very happy to do it. Also, what this also means is that when a spirit leaves the body, when a spirit exits the body, all that is left is simply a shell. There is no more energy in the body. There's no more electricity. It's evaporated. It's gone. It disperses pretty quickly. Almost about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It does take a long time. Sometimes it depends on the body, but for the most part it goes away very fast. So what does that mean? Well, what it means is something very simple. The body has no energy. So when cats eat meat, guess what? Do you do any of you have cats at all?
No.
Have you ever had cats? Oh, yeah, you do. And what's your cat's name? Tuna. Oh, of course it is. Cute. Tuna. Good name. Very good. So what cats will do, and I believe you will see this too, is after they eat, they sleep about 20 to 22 hours a day. The cats in the wild sleep for 20 to 22 hours a day. And they do that because there is no energy in their foods. And there never was. Once the spirit evaporates, the energy is gone, it's dissipated, it's no longer there. There's only a little bit left. So they get a little bit of energy, but not a lot. So what you will see is that cats will have bursts of energy to attack new prey, but then after they eat and they're done, they fall down and sleep for a long time. So what that means is meat has no energy. Let's make that very clear. Now, one more thing to observe here. This is the meat that the cats are eating fresh. They're eating this meat fresh. They just killed it, they're eating it fresh. The meat that all of you eat is hanging for about 6 months in a warehouse. You see what I'm saying too? So, do you believe that meat has any kind of energy? That's what I'm asking. The answer would be
protein.
We're going to talk about protein in great detail. You'll be very surprised by what we have to say. Protein is not what you think.
I thought the same as protein, iron, and
We're going to talk about all of that. Indeed. I'm going to talk about all of that, and you'll be very surprised that protein is not what you think it is, and it's going to be it's very damaging too. We'll talk about that in great detail here in a little bit. So, let's bring it all back around now. Cats. Do you look like cats?
No.
No. Do you have claws like cats?
No.
Do you kill creatures and eat them fresh?
Like humans can make the leftovers.
Sorry? Yes, like maybe some you like fish it out.
Leftovers, yeah.
Exactly right, yeah, correct. I like to think noodles is a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite things. You know, but I know that's okay. So you're very correct about it. So what this means is that is meat actually meant for you? Is meat designed for you? I'm asking you this right now. Is meat designed for you? What do you feel? The question is, well, this the very good question. The question is this: so meat has no energy. It's meant for cats. It's meant for carnivores. Is meat designed for you? Design. Is it designed for you? Remember, there are 4 body designs. They are actually designed by God. We'll talk about that later. It's a cool thing. I know some people don't like that word, but very frankly, that is what it is. You did not make your bodies. There is something else did. So, is meat designed for you? What's that? No. Is meat designed for you? What's that?
I don't understand the question.
Okay, then let's skip over it. It's fine. Is meat meant for you?
It's bad for me.
Yes. Are you a carnivore?
Bad. Yes, we are.
You are. Okay.
Yeah, because of the teeth.
Have you seen the gnashing teeth that cats have? I mean, they have.
When we don't have it.
Yes, we're going to talk about that too. May I say to you that most people, when I talk to them about this, they will say to me, "Oh, you know, the way you put it, no," or if you say it that way, no. But the answer is just no. The answer is just no.
Yeah, I believe in that.
There is no.
I believe in that. I want to move on because.
Yes, we're going to talk about all of that. The answer is just no. Meat was never meant for you, and it is not meant for you today. There is nothing beneficial in meat for you today. We will talk about that. Not even the protein, not even the iron, not even the B12. It is all nonsense. We're going to talk about that later. I know, it's surprising, isn't it? It's surprising, isn't it? I know. We'll talk about that in great detail as you wish. So, are you a carnivore? The answer is just no. Simply no. Let's just make that very clear, all right? All right. Now the next group, let's put the cats over there in the corner, right towards the camera, and let's look for the next group. The next group is going to be called herbivore. Forgive my terrible writing. Herbivores, what do they eat?
Herbs.
Herbs. Herbs. Yeah, exactly right. What are herbs? You are correct. What are herbs? Vegetables, you got it. Very good. Very well, it's very hot. I'm going to wipe my face a lot because I'm also in the suit and skin here. So, good. So, vegetable eaters. Vegetable eaters. So, in nature, in freedom, what faces do you see that eat vegetables? Rabbits, good. Rabbits, good. What else? Yeah. Cows, you got it. Exactly right. Cows. What else? Horses, yes. Beautiful example. I like it very much. One more?
Snakes.
What's that?
Snakes.
Snakes. Snakes are a little bit.
Snakes.
Snails. Oh, snails? That's cute. They're a little bit more omnivores for sure. Wolf and snails on there. Why not? Sure. Just for fun. Okay, so let's just go through this. You have some very good examples. Cows, horses, giraffes, little sheep, rabbits. Perfect. Good. So now, let me ask you a question. How many stomachs do you have? One. How many stomachs does a cow have? 4. Cows have 4 stomachs. How many stomachs?
How I know this.
Yes. I am curious how you know that. Most people don't actually.
It just came from somewhere in my brain.
But I have one more that will stump you though. One more. How many stomachs does a horse have? What's that? 1. Anybody else?
8.
8? You're actually closer than you think. Anybody else? Let's combine those answers. Horses have one stomach, but it's divided into 7 compartments. So it acts as 7 stomachs, essentially. So let's make that very clear. Horses and cows and all of them have multiple stomachs. So, how big are your teeth? Are they about this big? About that big? Your teeth? Your teeth are about that big? Yeah, about that, right? How big are a cow's teeth? Like that, right? They're pretty huge. And they're also flat too, like this. So, when you eat your food, you eat with a chomping action, correct?